Good evening, everybody. Today we have a short session with William sir. Sir, what is the topic today?
Okay, this is two sessions we'll be doing. The second session will be discussions on what Vara mirror says about progeny. Some very important gems we'll take and we'll discuss a lot about remedial measures also will be that will be seen. And another, I think the first session we will see about kids without marriage.
Okay.
Okay, we will see what are the classic rules and what happens with them.
Yes.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Okay, we'll take one session, progeny without marriage. Before we just go into the introduction, according to Saravali, Kalyan Varman, there are 12 kinds of progeny. Aurasa, children married to a married couple, illegitimate couple. Kshetraja, progeny born to a wife through another person appointed by the husband. Datta. So, normally what we say is Datta is the adopted child, but there are 2, 3 other variations of adoption. One is that the adopted children mostly received as a gift. Krita, a child which has been purchased. I think most of the adopted children are Krita. Then Kritrima, a grown-up son adopted without the consent of the parents. Then another is Adama Prabhava, a child born to a low caste, a Brahmin. Gudotpanna, illegitimate child born secretly. Pavita, a child abandoned by the parents and adopted by a stranger. Paunar Bhava, son of a remarried widow. Kanina, child born without wedlock. Saho, the child born when the mother is pregnant before marriage. Dasi Tarva, child of a female slave. This is what the classics, this is also repeated in Bhagavatam also. I have seen slightly different names. And Saravali, one of the best books, gives this. We will just, maybe we will see 2, 3 of this. What is the example? The rest we will see in class. Each has a definition. In fact, in Saravali gives a rule for each. What are the combinations? Which we need to decode it and not apply only and build upon it. We will just take 2, 3 of it and we'll see. Oh, before that, we'll see other types of births in the Puranas. Pandavas were a product of Kshetrada. Kauravas were cloned children. I think the first cloned children, where you will know it is in the Mahabharata. In fact, most of the Mahabharata stories is all kind of strange births. Krishna and Balarama were children swapped in the Rama and his brothers were born through the divine payasam. Sita is born from the earth. Gods and their birth, I've just mentioned a few, you have a whole thing. Brahma is born from the navel of Vishnu. Rudra is born from the third eye of Brahma. Ganapati is infused life from the turmeric of life. Subramanya is born from the third eye, Lord Shiva. The Brahma's Manasatras or the mind-born sons, all born through his mind. Sunny is born from Sanjana's shadow. Puja is born from the sweat of Rudra. Dhanvantri, Chandra, Mahalakshmi are born from the divine. We have a lot more different kinds. At least these are God's birth. Even Mahabharatas are human births. You have different advanced clone births. Back there, you can see cloning mentioned in the Mahabharata. You have swapping of the Sukshma Sarira. You will see Krishna and Balarama are swapped souls. So you have different kind of birth apart from the normal human birth. This introduction, you go into. Okay. look at this particular chart. I put this in the VV asking for what is it? Approaching for marriage. And many people of my friends who are abroad are telling me this is a very common thing in abroad. There's nothing strange. In fact, most of 70-80% this only happens. Before, this was a very big thing, very illegal. It was called legitimate, so many other things. But most of them were giving me the comments, and personally, when they spoke, this is a very common thing. It is nothing illegal about it. It's very, very normal to have. But I checked up. I have many horoscopes. I checked up for a married person, and when a lady gets a child without marriage, clearly there is a marked difference when it happens. Though it has become normal, it is getting very, I don't know in whole India, but it's getting very normal abroad. But when I see these two are born abroad, I just look at the chart. Even if it is happening abroad, the same rules. Look at the chart, Rasi chart. Rahu is in the 5th house. 5th Lord Mars is with 8th Lord. Most of the combination I've seen either Rahu or the 8th Lord playing a role when women is getting without marriage. Jupiter is naturally weak in most of the charts. Retrograde Jupiter is in the 8th house. You have Shukra also with Saturn. You can see Navamsa again. Ketu is in the 5th house. And most important, look at the Saptams. The Saptams of 5th Lord is with Rahu. Jupiter is Neecha and with Ketu. So to see, it can be a very normal thing in abroad, but exactly 8th Lord connection to the 5th house, Jupiter being under affliction, Rahu in the 5th house is a very common. There are different slight variations I have seen. Sometimes in the 5th house affliction, or sometimes it's 7th house affliction. So I don't know whether it has become normal, it is general, but planetary positions are the same. Whether it is happening in India or happening abroad, I have seen, I'm sure the ones born in India, ones born abroad, do have a very, maybe the public is accepted, it's a different meaning, but it is the same combination. Anybody wants to say something about this? Or any doubts on this? Give it. Anybody's got any doubts on this, or anybody wants to add or say something about this view? We go to another thing. See this second, all very similar, European born girl. Had a kid before marriage. The earlier one had 2 kids, this one had 1 kid. Okay, look at the horoscope. So immediately, directly from the Lagna, the 5th house has no Rahu, everything, but you can see it's 5th from Jupiter, 5th from Jupiter as Ram. 5th from Jupiter as Ram sitting down in the even chart. The Navamsa chart, you can see clearly Rahu is in Lagna, 7th house, Venus and Ketu are sitting down. Jupiter is in 8th house. In Saptamsa, very, very clearly, you can see 5th house as Ketu and Sun. Okay, so clearly you can see an affliction. Rahu is in the 5th from Lagna, Chandra Lagna, or Jupiter, or you can see that Rahu Lagna. Somewhere Rahu's connection to the 5th houses, or Jupiter being weak, or 5th from Jupiter is having Rahu in all the charts. You can see the second 2 both European charts. You can see. Okay, any doubts on this? Anybody wants to say anything? Their own views or what I say? Is it very common abroad to get children without marriage? Look at
But
this.
sir, this is a very bold statement to make to our Indians, that you will have children without marriage,
correct.
and Jupiter and Rahu combination, what, gives the children with the IVF also with some modern technology
Rahu,
also.
see, that's
So how to distinguish is
Rahu can give for marriage or all these, not this is necessary IVs. I've seen surrogacy, all kind of artificial means
Yeah, artificial
Also, you will see when Rahu's in the fifth house. There are more rules, a lot of rules. I will tell you clearly in the class when is surrogacy, when is IVF, when it is illegitimate, when it is just, it's not, these are not, you can't call it illegitimate or unlegitimate. It is a very common accepted thing abroad. So it is a normal thing. Only thing, it is not out of a wedlock. Maybe religiously not correct. But what does astrology say for this? Rahu is there. Whether what I say it is a commonly normal thing, Rahu is always involved. Even if it happens in India, it's the same combination. Even abroad, it is the same combination. Some people are telling Desha Kala Patra, so if the rules are different, it does not apply there. But when I had more than so many foreign people chat, I was testing it. Everybody had the same combination. If they are married and have a child, it's a different combination. But without marriage, clearly Rahu's play is there. Rahu is more than that. Rahu has a lot of play for IVF and surrogacy or artificial insemination. Many other aspects also I have seen Rahu. Mostly of Tula Lagna with Rahu in Aquarius, I've seen the most strangest methods of play. I know one lady with Kumbha Lagna with Rahu in the fifth house. She had to borrow an egg. Okay, so just an egg was borrowed and she got the kid. So there was two mothers and one father. This is two. You will see all this with Rahu. Yes.
See, nowadays these Indian celebrities are also having that.
Yeah.
Jitendra Kid, the two children, one daughter, one son. Both of them had children like this only, na? They are not married.
Very, very interesting. This what is it? In fact, marriage and children are the easiest to master in astrology. There's no complications. You very easily master. Other aspects of astrology is difficult. This is very easy to understand.
Karan Johar also has not two children without marriage.
If I had a horoscope, it would be nice.
Why don't?
Now I have my own personal collection. It's a lot of huge collection. But anyway, we can discuss about celebrities. It'll be very interesting. I have Sushmita's eggs first. I know it is correct also.
But she has adopted her children, or
yes, she adopted. And then you have Angelina Jolie. She is adopted, and she had her own kids also, 2 kids. I'll speak in adoption. There's a huge list of adoption. There's separate rules for adoption. It very varies. To understand the fifth house. In fact, I think fifth house is the most important house in the whole of astrology. So we'll see these 2 sessions and we'll see how much we can discuss about. It's just not children. So many things are there about the fifth house. One very important aspect is the children, and the one topic I wanted to talk. I'll speak in the next session. Dosha. The dosha and fifth house go together. There is no dosha means only fifth house. It is not any other house. Not 6, 8, 12 house is also not dosha. Dosha's seat of dosha is only the fifth house. And affliction, the fifth is only dosha, and that only will come as putra dosha. When putra dosha is also fifth house. I will tell you how it is.
Sir, when you have only daughters, that also comes under putra dosha that you will not have. Because in olden time they used to say that no putra means.
It was at those times it was told, because the classics sometimes they mention, in fact classics will not even mention daughter, will only mention sutta. Sutta means son. What is alpa sutta? Alpa sutta means very little child. That is what the classical mention, alpa sutta. What is it? Actually in today's meaning, if you take it, it is not no sons, it means no child.
Okay, because in classic book they say no son, only daughters.
They will not mention daughters. Most of the they will not mention. They will mention separately for daughters, but general rule it will be alpa sutta. Sutta only will be the sutta bhava. Sutta bhava only it will be a discretion. Putra bhava, it's not putra bhava. Sutta bhava. Sutta bhava means sons. Sutta is not. It's not inclusive of female. It is only talking about male.
Male.
But nowadays it has changed. What I say, when you have feminine planets strong, it is female, masculine planets strong. There are many rules for gender identification. One is the feminine, masculine, but then it changes a lot. But there are some classical direct rules which I have seen. Pisces ascendant, Jupiter exalted in the 5th house will give a lot more daughters. Like that. There are some classical cases. Jupiter in the 5th tends to give more daughters, especially exalted Jupiter in the 5th gives more daughters.
Oh.
There are many rules that will be there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir.
For actually progeny, I'll be discussing from 4-5 books. Completely all the session with rules we'll be discussing. Like Jadak Parajada and Baladivika will be the best. Rest all will be just a repeat. There is an Horasara is there, Brad Parasara Hora is there, Uttrakala Mitra is there, but then nothing more. Baladivika is the best for progeny related. Next will be Jadak Parajada. Even BPHS does not have such elaborate things. Rest all, it will only talk about conception, not too much into details about the different types of. You want to learn about children, it is only in Baladivika and Jadak.
Thank you, sir.
Then this is one. This is a normal kid without marriage. This is in India. Happened in China. Look at this chart. Okay, this we can call it as a love kid. And in India, it is totally different. Okay. Look at this chart. 8th Lord, I always say the 8th Lord connection must be there. Okay, Lagna is Rahu, Ketu notes. Jupiter is with Rahu. Shukra is with Rahu. So you can see the 7th house. It's a love kid. Venus Rahu in the 7th house. Lagna Lord in the 7th house. Jupiter in Papakatri. 5th Lord in the 12th house. 5th house has 8th Lord. For most of it, without marriage, apart from Rahu, there is one more moon, is 8th Lord, connecting with the 4th house. You can see Jupiter is Neecha in Navamsa. Okay, look at the Saptamsa. Jupiter is again with Rahu. But this will repeat, continuously repeat. You can see it's a love child because it is Moon-Venus combination in Saptamsa in Libra. Typical, this is a you can call it a love child. The chart, what is it? If, without marriage, they fell in love and they couldn't get married. They got a child.
So people with the live-in also will have these type of combinations?
No,
if they are in live-in and they have children, that is not marriage, no? Legally marriage.
Yeah. That will have the same thing. Living together without children, living together with children. Living together, see, there is one thing. In case they get married later, what happens? But they live in together, have a child, they separate, and they never get married. Or they get married in some days. A very interesting cases will be there. Each will show in the chart. Everything you can see it in the chart. Okay, look at this. This is the Sahoda, married but kid from another person. What is it? She's married, but what is it? She did not get the kid from her husband. He's supposed to be gay, but it was he was hiding it. She went on to have a kid, and he accepted the kid also. Look at this horoscope. This is a very clear-cut example chart. So this is not a kid before marriage. The girl is married, but this is an illegitimate adult place connection. So see this contact. When it's just the difference in the horoscope. Okay, she's in love. I am getting a child without marriage, or she's married, but she's getting a kid from another person. See the combination. 5th house, Jupiter in the 8th house. She is having moon nature. Shukra is strong for the girl. Shukra and Lagna, 7th Lord in the 6th house. So you are not only have in this case 5th house affliction, there is 7th house also affliction. Look at the Navamsa again. Rahu is in Lagna, Jupiter, Rahu in Lagna, 5th house Saturn. Very strong Jupiter again. 7th house has moon and Ketu. See in the Saptamsa, 5th house Rahu again in the 5th house. Where is Jupiter? Jupiter is in the 10th house. In D1 chart and Saptamsa chart, Jupiter is weak and 5th house Rahu. So now you tell me, what is the difference? Does it show any difference? Having kid before marriage or an adulterous contact, is the planetary portion having any difference? Okay, it is little more severe afflicted. Before marriage, it was not that severely afflicted. It had a mild affliction in Jupiter. When you get an adulterous, see this, when I discuss about this, what is the most important thing is to get a kid nowadays, it is very difficult. So it is very healthy, at least you get a kid. There is something, what I said, person getting a kid, because now most 10 out of 5 cases do not get a kid. But then if the kid is from through dharmic purpose, it's a different meaning. So it is before marriage or after marriage, illegal connection. Then there are so many cases I have. Biggest list I have is childless cases. That is a huge thing. So here you what I say, the girl is fertile enough to get a kid, but the kid seems to come from. I know so many people finding it so difficult to get a progeny nowadays because the kind of food and lifestyle, women do not get that easily pregnant. It's very, very difficult. But here, what I say, very easily you get an illegitimate child or this kid for marriage. It happens. So there are rules. Actually, there is an introduction. What are the combinations for getting children? What are the combinations for the fruitful combination for getting children? And then, okay, what kind of kids it will come? So I have not spoken on what are the rules. I'm just speaking. Okay, yes, they have the combinations for having a kid, and in what combinations it will lead to this kind of children. So you will see 8th Lord, and one of the combinations I'm giving you. Weak and afflicted Jupiter, 5th house Rahu, somewhere the 8th Lord also making a connection. Okay. Any doubts on this case? This is a Sarpadosha. You can put it up. I'll discuss this chart and the Sarpadosha. Look at this chart. Very similar case. Married children from another man. Okay, she had to do a marriage separated because of this. She has 2 children. Both, I don't know which of them is which. Some are saying both, some are saying only one child. What is it? She's keeping it a secret. But okay, but you can look at the horoscope and find out what is the case. 5th house Rahu, 5th Lord nature. Jupiter for Tula Lagna is already a man. She has Shukra nature. Lagna Lord nature and the 12th house of moon natures. 7th Lord nature. So 7th Lord nature, 5th Lord nature, Shukra Lagna Lord nature. Look at the horoscope. Okay. Navamsa, Jupiter goes to Scorpio. And the 5th house in Navamsa has Saturn, Mars, affliction. Go to Saptamsa and look at the combination. You have Shukra with Rahu. Lagna Lord, D1 Lagna Lord, Shukra goes to 5th house as Mars and Sun. Jupiter is again in Navamsa and Saptamsa in Saptamsa 5th Lord is with Rahu. So very, very clearly in this 5 charts, and very clearly you will know. I have more charts in class. I'll discuss a little more complicated, a little more in a different varied charts. I'll discuss about the same chapter. This giving about the 12 children we saw in Saravali. This is Kanina and Sahoda. 2 types we are seeing. One illegitimate, one before marriage. For marriage, if you detect it, even if it is abroad or Indian, it is the same Rahu affliction, same Jupiter weak affliction, or the 8th Lord moon playing a role into the 5th house. Anybody wants to say something? Any views about this?
Hello, sir. This is Kishore here.
Yes, sir.
Vanakkam, sir. And in almost all the charts, I've noticed the nodes are playing a major role.
Yes.
So is that only confined to the nodes to deliver the dosha, or the dosha can come from other grahas? That is
no, dosha can come from others. So I've seen Saturn can come. Sometimes it can be a niche planet in the 5th house can also come there. See, but nodes especially where Rahu is. If you have anybody Rahu in Lagna, they will do whatever they want. Whichever Baba Rahu is, there is no rule or rhyme how they will achieve it. Through any hook or crook method, they will reach it. So when you see Rahu in the 5th house, what does it mean? It is not obtained through a proper channel. the accepted norms, dharmic way is missing. See, when you say dharma and adharma, no, Jupiter is dharma, adharma is Rahu. Or what I say, if it is a too broad word, you want to have it a very global attitude. We did not name some Rahu such bad. What I say, you want to make Rahu a very international planet. So you can say, okay, according to the wish and pleasure. You need not follow any rule book. Okay, you want to a traditional conservative way of delivery is Jupiter. A modern way. The modern way or trendy way, what I say, people have their own liberation, freedom to do whatever you want. That kind of spirit is ruled by Rahu. Not even Ketu, it is only Rahu. So wherever Rahu is, a person will involve in whatever they feel is right. It is there is no set norms they do not follow. Whatever they think is right is what they do. So normally you will see 7th house Rahu, so 5th house Rahu, very strong among these cases. 7th house Rahu, it could be what I said, just relationships, but 5th house Rahu will translate into a progeny. Most of these cases, you will also see it is not the 5th house, it's also there is an affliction to the 7th house. So there is a malefic affliction with the 7th house, there's a malefic affliction with the 5th house, Jupiter being weak. Some cases, you will see Venus with Saturn, Venus with Mars, Venus with Rahu, Venus Nietzsche, you can see in many cases. So I don't know. Many people are arguing me in TV, telling me, most of the foreigners were telling me, this is accepted. I have a friend, she was telling me, it is very common. 80% everybody is less way. So there's nothing wrong or what I say. Maybe in India, it's a different culture. But there, they say everybody has kids only like this. Though it was a time when they got that. So they assume what I say, the planetary position must be different. But I don't know. That's why I put both the first two charts were European charts. The rest was only India. The first two charts also very, very similar, which was very common for the country, also had Rahu. Even in India, when it was the same way, it was also Rahu. I do not see the difference. Though you can say Desha Kala, so it has to be applied differently. No. What I say, it doesn't mean what I say, a foreigner, a girl gets what is a kid without marriage means Jupiter has to claim nice, but there's no Rahu connection going to be for the 5th person. No, it is there. I have a list, huge list I have, and it is very common, it's always there. Without marriage, it is definitely clearly 5th house affliction, Jupiter affliction, 7th house affliction, Venus affliction is there.
Thank you, sir. And so what I take from your statements is that the extreme form of dosha will be no child. And if the dosha is somewhat lesser in intensity, then there would be these sort of aberrations in the native's life.
You can be adoption is there. No, there are a lot of other afflictions, not only that. See that, not no child. No child also is better, I would say. You get the child and you separate with the child. You are not going to be with the child. That's the worst. Or you get a child and the child dies. Or a parent to have their child seen dead is the worst sin, the worst dosha you can ever see. You can experience. Nothing else more pain. I think that's the worst dosha. The one is I've seen people divorce. And what I say, it goes with the one of the spouses in divorce, and they're not unable to meet. The pain and problem it happens. I just had a client in the morning who had a very similar problem. What is it? The child has to share in what kind of brainwashing. Mother says father is bad, father said mother is bad. The child goes up in this kind of atmosphere. You don't know who to believe, who to trust. But suddenly it takes sides or it is lost there. So that kind, then you have a sickly child. How many people have mentally retarded children? That is another dosha. Childless is more better. Get a child and you want to have a sickly child, he has a physical problem. That is another worse thing. So I think it is better. So I've seen children, your child is born and child is lost. There's another case. Even dead, it is okay. I can digest. Imagine child is lost. I'll be seeing 10 charts. All these examples will be seen. Then adoption. The case is what I say. Adoption again, 2-3 varieties. No kids, you adopt. So there is severe affliction, but there is what is the case when you adopt? There is a case, okay, you adopt, then you get your own child later. Or there is a case of adoption where I don't have a kid, I marry a girl with a kid, and then I get a kid with her. So there are 3 types of children. So all this will be very interesting to look at the 5th house. my kid, her kid, and our kid. So this is all very interesting to see the fifth house, or to say how interesting the fifth house came.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. We'll have very interesting discussions with all different kinds of progeny. I think for fifth house, the progeny will be the most interesting topic. Anybody else? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.